Now, in a major development today, the Supreme Court shot down a batch of petitions and rejected a demand seeking criminal investigation into the Hindenburg report. The SC was ruling on a batch of petitions seeking examination of allegations of fraud against the Adani Group in the Hindenburg research report. The pleas said that Adani Group, which they insinuated was close to the Modi government, inflated its share prices, and after the report of the short seller Hindenburg research, the share value of various group entities fell sharply. The Supreme Court, though, found no merit in the charges. Naturally, a miffed Congress party asserted that they will continue their fight against crony capitalism. The party maintains that the Adani Group has manipulated and subverted the system for a decade. But what actually does the Supreme Court judgment say? There are some very important operative portions of the Supreme Court judgment that you should pay attention to. Among the various points that have been made, here are a few important ones. It says, reliance placed by petitioner on OCCRP report to suggest that SEBI was lackadaisical in conducting investigation is rejected. So the claim that SEBI was lackadaisical, it was rejected. Report by third-party organization without any attempt to verify the authenticity of allegations cannot be regarded as conclusive proof. Pay attention to this. Without any attempt to verify. Petitioner's reliance on the letter by the DRI is misconceived, as the issue has already been settled by findings of DRI's additional DG and CSTAT and the Supreme Court. Then they go on to say allegations of conflict of interest against members of the expert committee are also unsubstantiated and are rejected. So first it's unverified. Then they said that there is no conflict of interest. Then they are saying some of the additional claims you are making, we have already shot them down. Please that lack, and you have to pay attention to this, please that lack adequate research, rely on unverified and unrelated material, tend to be counterproductive. Pay attention to this. Lack adequate research, rely on unverified and unrelated material, and tend to be counterproductive. But the problems did not end there. Finally, and remember, the Congress's attack on the Modi government so far has largely been on Hindenburg's shoulders. They are saying, here is a whistleblower. They are calling out this Modani government. But guess what the Supreme Court said today about Hindenburg itself? The Supreme Court turned the lens on this whistleblower and said in its order, SEBI and the investigative agencies shall probe whether the loss suffered by Indian investors due to the conduct of Hindenburg research, if any of this happened, and that is going to be investigated. And any other entities in taking short positions involved any infraction of the law. If so, suitable action shall be taken. So the whistleblower is himself now going to be investigated. Essentially, the Supreme Court is saying, we will see if there was a malified intent here, and that should be investigated. However, the Congress is quite clear in their statement today. They made some very curious references. There was a reference about how the Supreme Court has been very generous to SEBI. In the statement by Jairam Ramesh, they also reasserted this entire OCCRP report allegations. Again, referred to what Mr. Adani has said when he tweeted Satyamev Jayate. They're saying that irony died 1,000 deaths when somebody who is benefiting by taking undue favors is saying Satyamev Jayate. But look at how things actually turned out. The Congress continued to attack the Adani Group after the court judgment, but they were called out not just by the Supreme Court, which gave a clean chit to the company. They were called out by one of their own, because it was today when the Chief Minister of Telangana, Revanth Reddy, decided to hobnob with guess who? The Adani Group. I mean, who would have thought that this timing is possible? But it is. So here you had the Supreme Court saying that you are relying on unverified, unrelated, unchecked, unbelievable material. And then you had Revanth Reddy, the Chief Minister, the Congress Chief Minister of Telangana, saying, I will do business with these same people who are supposed to be crony capitalists. In the evening, of course, the Telangana government gave an explanation that this is being done in order to get jobs into the state. But is this not then playing into the perception that this entire attack was basically, and pardon my French, for the heck of it?
No, we are not against the investment. We are against loot, evasion of taxes, and loot, and the government of India is throwing away the property to Adani Group, like ports, airports, etc., at throwaway price, and cell companies already operating in Mauritius. Such activities we are opposed. Investment we are never opposing. Says that if they follow the procedure, they are very welcome to invest anybody.
देखिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट से देश के लोगों को बहुत उम्मीद है, लेकिन सवाल यह है कि इंक्वायरी अगर सेबी करती है तो उस पर भरोसा नहीं किया जा सकता है। भारत सरकार की किसी भी एजेंसी पर भरोसा करना मुश्किल काम है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट के अपने सुपरविजन में अगर कोई इंक्वायरी होती है तो उसी में सच निकल सकता है, वरना सच नहीं निकल पाएगा।
All right, Guru Prakash, national spokesperson of BJP, continues with us along with political analyst Lokesh Jindal. But I want to take the first question to senior journalist Sameer Chougaonkar. Sameer ji, ये जो पूरा आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट आया है और जो तेलंगाना सरकार ने अदानी ग्रुप के साथ मीटिंग की है, ये कांग्रेस की पॉलिटिक्स को क्या करती है? अब आगे जब आप मोदानी की बात करेंगे तो आप क्या संदेश लेकर के लोगों के पास जाएंगे?
निश्चित रूप से आप देखिए पद्मजा जी, 24 जनवरी को जब ये रिपोर्ट आई थी, लास्ट ईयर 24 जनवरी को जब ये रिपोर्ट आई थी हिडनबर्ग की, आप देखिए उसके बाद अडानी के जो मार्केट वैल्यू था वो पूरी तरह डाउन हो चुका था और इंडियन जो इन्वेस्टर्स थे उनके 10 लाख करोड़ रुपए बर्बाद हो गए थे इसकी रिपोर्ट के बाद। और तुरंत इस रिपोर्ट आने के तुरंत बाद कांग्रेस ने जेपीसी की मांग कर ली थी। कांग्रेस ने कहा कि जेपीसी बनाइए, अडानी ने इतना बड़ा भ्रष्टाचार किया, अडानी ने इतना हेरफेर किया शेयर के अंदर, पूरी इकोनॉमी को खत्म कर दिया है, एसबीआई को घाटे में डाल दिया है और एलआईसी को पूरा बर्बाद करने का अडानी ने काम कर दिया है। मुझे लगता है कि अपने देश के एक उद्योगपति के ऊपर भरोसा छोड़कर, देश की जांच एजेंसियों के ऊपर भरोसा छोड़कर कांग्रेस ने जॉर्ज सोरस जैसे व्यक्ति पर भरोसा किया, जिसकी रिपोर्ट्स पे कोई तथ्य नहीं था, कोई सच्चाई नहीं थी, पूरी बेसलेस रिपोर्ट थी। और आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी यह कहा है कि सेबी इसकी जांच करने के लिए सक्षम एजेंसी है और सेबी जांच कर रही है। 24 में से 22 मामले की सेबी जांच कर चुकी है। 2 मामलों के लिए सेबी को बोला है कि 3 महीने के अंदर आप जांच करके रिपोर्ट सबमिट कर दीजिए। मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने आज बता दिया है कि देश की जो एजेंसीज है वो सक्षम है, कैपेबल है और वो परफेक्ट जांच कर रही है। मुझे लगता है कि कांग्रेस को यह समझना चाहिए कि आज वो जिस अडानी के बारे में, और राहुल गांधी क्या कहते हैं, राहुल गांधी कहते हैं मोदी जी के लिए हम दो हमारे दो, अडानी और अंबानी का जिक्र करते हैं कि सारे संसाधन इनको दे रहे हैं। अरे राहुल गांधी को समझना चाहिए कि आज रेवंत रेड्डी ने इन्वेस्टर के लिए अडानी से बात की है, अशोक गहलोत ने अपने राज्य के अंदर अडानी जी से कितने एमओयू साइन किए थे, कमलनाथ ने कितने साइन किए थे, छत्तीसगढ़ में अडानी का इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना था। एक उद्योगपति, देश का इतना बड़ा उद्योगपति, दुनिया का इतना बड़ा उद्योगपति अपने देश में अगर इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है तो कांग्रेस को क्या दिक्कत है? हर बात पर मुझे यह कह देना कि अडानी की सरकार है, अडानी को संसाधन दिए जा रहे हैं, अंबानी को संसाधन दिए जा रहे हैं। मुझे लग रहा है कि राहुल गांधी और कांग्रेस के बात समझना चाहिए। राफेल के समय भी इन्होंने यही कहा था, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में इन्होंने हार गए थे। उसके बाद आर्टिकल 370 पर इन्होंने कहा, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उस पर भी क्लीन चिट दे दी और आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अडानी के मामले में भी क्लीन चिट दे दी है कि जो जांच हो रही है सेबी जांच बराबर कर रही है और इसकी जांच
So let me take this one by one. Lokesh Jindal, as far as Hindenburg is concerned, the Supreme Court says that there will be investigation into whether the conduct of Hindenburg Research and other entities in taking short positions involved any infraction of the law. So Hindenburg could have a motive. Supreme Court is saying it, not us. What was the motive of those who picked up the Hindenburg report to attack the government and SEBI, more importantly, and the markets? Government can deal with itself. But they attacked SEBI and they attacked the markets. What was the motive there?
Padmaja, there are certain facts which led to this. If you look at UK Sinha, who was the SEBI chairman from 2011 to 2017, he was made the non-executive director by Mr. Adani when he acquired NDTV. The legitimate question is, why this favor? Why this generosity? And subsequently, when you have
Sir, these are
Congress raising
insinuations.
apprehensions.
What's the fact? Let me repeat to you what the Supreme Court says. Let me repeat to you what the Supreme Court says, and the words are there, that it is misconceived, and they're talking about various things. They are using words like misconceived, petitions that lack adequate research and rely on unverified and unrelated material. That is my counter to your insinuation. Lack adequate research, rely on unverified and unrelated. It's like kahin ki eat, kahin ka UK Sinha, NDTV, pick up 2-3 things, Modi, Adani, and then you're like, oh, scam. Supreme Court says, kidhar se bhai?
Supreme Court has made a statement today. It has stated that its jurisdiction is limited with respect to the regulatory function of the SEBI. But we all know that SEBI works under Ministry of Finance, and there is a lot of potential of the government
it
to
has worked
interfere
under
into
Ministry
the
of
functioning of the
Finance
SEBI.
since it has worked under the Ministry since Congress government also. So were you short-circuiting the markets then?
The idea is that if at all the investors' confidence was to be retained, Congress was expecting that if there is an impartial probe carried out by the Supreme Court or an agency outside SEBI, it would have led to a better form of investor confidence, and it would have led to a better confidence towards the Indian capital markets.
Supreme Court of India and the bench included the Chief Justice doesn't think so, but Lokesh Jindal and Rahul Gandhi think so.
No, it is for the investors who lost their money. Why did the investors lose the money?
Thanks to
who?
The
investors lost the money. No. The investors lost the money because SEBI failed to perform its functions.
No, because you hyped
agencies like
the Hindenburg report, which is unverified and lacks research.
Absolutely not. I mean, it was not due to Congress hyping the Hindenburg report that all this happened. It was the Hindenburg report which was out, and following this, there was such a loss to the investors that Congress took up the matter that who is responsible for this loss? That the government should be made responsible for, and that's what the Supreme Court reiterated. Supreme Court stated
so Congress thought there was a loss, and then you hyped it up and caused more loss.
A loss for the investor.
Okay.
It's not, see, nobody, except for a retail investor, for an ordinary investor who earns his daily bread from the capital market, it was his loss, not for any corporate house.
Okay. Now let me read out to you, Guru Prakash, what Mr. Jairam Ramesh's statement today is. Those describing this judgment as a clean chit are the same as those who describe the expert committee report as a clean chit. Basically, he is saying that the Supreme Court judgment on certain matters relating to transactions by Adani Group has proven extraordinarily generous to SEBI. So there is a doubt here that a lot of facts have been overlooked by the court also.
No, Padmaja, I think before I comment on the observations of Mr. Jairam Ramesh, who thinks that his observations are more biased than the observation of the Supreme Court, I think that's where the problem lies. But I was listening to Mr. Rashid Kedwai when he was giving a bite, and that is where the actual problem lies, Padmaja. He is saying कि एजेंसियों पे हमें विश्वास नहीं है, सच क्या है ये कौन तय करेगा? तो ये सच की ठेकेदारी कांग्रेस के लोगों ने लेकर रखी है क्या? I want to have a very clear view on this. In 2018, Padmaja, your viewers would very well remember a same facade of lies were created, was manufactured. Chaukidar chor hai in the Rafale case. But finally what happened? Mr. Rahul Gandhi apologizes to the Supreme Court of India. Same thing, same template, same classical textbook example is happening now. Now, be it Mr. Rashid Kedwai, be it Mr. Jairam Ramesh, I have a very fundamental point. There is a separation of power, and I am reading from the website of the Securities and the Exchange Board of India. The SEBI was established as a statutory body in the year 1992, and the Supreme Court today, sir, has upheld. I want to repeat myself categorically. The Supreme Court of India, the highest decision-making judicial agency in the country, has upheld the integrity of SEBI's regulatory framework, cementing its role as a guardian of Indian financial stability. हर एजेंसी जो आपको सूट नहीं करे, आप उसके इंटेग्रिटी पे सवाल खड़ा कर दो. This is beyond my comprehension, Padmaja. When a Congress third-time Rajya Sabha member of Parliament, Dhirendra Sahu, cash is recovered from his house, तो ED गलत है, CBI गलत है. अरे आपके सिटिंग सांसद तीसरे बार के सांसद के घर से सैकड़ों करोड़ों रुपए कैश बरामद हो रहे हैं, तो इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट गलत हो जाता है, अभी सेबी गलत हो जाता है, कल सुप्रीम कोर्ट गलत हो जाता है, आप चुनाव हारते हो, चुनाव आयोग तक गलत हो जाता है. पद्मजा, दिस इज नॉट अ गुड ट्रेंड फॉर आवर डेमोक्रेसी. ये हमारे लोकतंत्र के हित में नहीं है. अपने कन्वीनियंस के हिसाब से, अपने नैरेटिव के हिसाब से आप एजेंसीज पे प्रश्न चिन्ह खड़ा करो.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that because the politics of this is going to play out over time. But I still have to say that really the timing and the messaging of this meeting today is what completely beats me. It's one thing to have a court order and react to it, but really what were you thinking? That on a day your party in Delhi is attacking a company as a crony capitalist, you decide to join hands with them, you decide to shake hands with them, and then you say, ye bhi national interest mein. I'll leave it at that. Thanks, gentlemen.